Friend, father, lawyer, call Frank Bruno Jr., attorney at law.
Welcome to Frank Bruno Law. I am Frank Bruno. I'm an elder law and estate planning attorney in New York. Today, I'd like to speak about the difference between Medicare and Medicaid. Before I get to that, if you would like to make an appointment, if you'd like to speak with me by phone, I can be reached at callfrankbruno.com or on my website, frankbrunolaw.com. So oftentimes when I speak with clients, they will interchangeably use Medicare and Medicaid, right? Those are two separate programs. Medicare, broadly, is the insurance policy, the insurance that people have 65 years or older. And Medicaid is a federal program for the poor as defined by Medicare, program run by the state to provide for nursing home and in-home care, right? So Medicare and Medicaid, similar names, different programs. I started today a series on Medicare on my blog discussing Medicare A and B, and I plan to do C and D, and then do a wrap-up on all the things that you should know about Medicare. And the reason for that is because I do get questioned quite a lot about what is Medicare, what does it cover, how does it differ from Medicaid. And besides the actual questions that I receive, I do have clients that just speak about both of those programs interchangeably, even when they're not interchangeable programs. So the original Medicare is Medicare A and B. Medicare A and B is original Medicare, and that's hospitalization and doctor's appointments. And I will break down each of those on both by blog posts, and I'm going to do a video series on Medicare as well. I'd like to speak about Medicare today, because just like I did it, just like I said that, Medicare and Medicaid roll off the tongue. So they're such similar words that I hear clients frequently, interchange those. Now, Medicare is the health insurance program for the elderly. If you're 65 years or older and you can qualify for Social Security, then you can apply for Medicare, right? It's a insurance coverage. Medicaid is a federal program, and it's administered by the states, and that's for people with low resources, right? Low assets, low income, and it provides for nursing home care or personal in-home care. And those are two things that Medicare does not cover, right? So Medicaid covers those two items that I mentioned, and Medicare does not. So Medicare, as an insurance program, has been around since 1966, more than 50 years. And when it started, it was just Parts A and B. So Medicare, Parts A and B, is considered original Medicare, okay? So what is Part A and what is Part B? Part A is what's known as hospitalization, right? So you get a semi-private room in a hospital. It's if you have an acute injury, a critical need, you can go to a hospital, and that's Part A. It's sometimes called inpatient, but that word kind of confuses people as well because it means in a hospital or in a certain treatment facility like that, but not nursing home care. So it's hospitalization, also called inpatient, Part A. Part B is outpatient, and that covers things such as doctor's visits, preventive tests such as a mammogram or the flu shot, chiropractic visits, what else? Transport by ambulance. So things that are outpatient. So what else do I have to tell you today? Don't confuse Medicare with Medicaid. Original Medicare is parts A and B. This is the first in a series. I'm going to go through Part C, which is Medicare Advantage. I'm going to go through a prescription plan that's all the alphabet soup of the Medicare. We're going to go through that. So let me give you some takeaways, right? So this is what I have. So Medicare, right, 65 and older, and otherwise eligible for Social Security. Part A, right, together. Part A and B is original Medicare, and Part A is hospitalization, illness, acute injury, requiring a hospital, and Part B, that's your outpatient. That covers doctor's visits, transport by ambulance, lab tests, chiropractic visits, preventive tests such as a mammogram or flu shots. Medicare Part C. So as I explained in the first video on Medicare, Medicare has parts, right? So insurance companies have plans. Medicare has parts, A, B, C, D, right? We're going with the alphabet. Medicare Part A and Part B is original Medicare. Part C, also called Medicare Advantage, is a way to replace the government program of Part A and B with and through a private insurance company. So you would have a network. It would be a PPO or an HMO. There are many different plans, many different companies that provide Medicare Advantage. So why would people want to use Medicare Advantage rather than the government plan? Well, the government, Part A and B, does not cover, it does not provide 100% coverage. So there's still an out-of-pocket cost. To combat that, people either need to get a supplemental insurance, right, to fill in the shortfall, or they can choose to use Medicare Advantage. And then they get hospitalization, doctor's visits. Some have prescription plans. Prescription plans are Part D. I'll get to that later in the series. So Medicare Advantage is a private plan. It has to be approved by your state. And this is what I call a confusopoly. The plans really, they come with a monthly premium or an annual premium, and you really have to take a look at what offerings each plan has, because there might be, there will definitely be a monthly premium, and there might be a lower premium, but a higher copay or a higher out-of-pocket. So you really need to scrutinize the plans. Now, the period of eligibility when you can enroll for Medicare Advantage is the period of 3 months before you turn 65, all the way to 3 months after you turn 65. So you have that 6-month window, and you have to otherwise qualify for A and B before you can go to, you can secure Medicare Advantage as a replacement for A and B. Annually, there is an enrollment period. So at the end of each year, insurance premiums go up, right? So at the end of each year, you'll get a notice as to what cost your plan will be for the following year. And there's an enrollment period from October 15th to December 7th. Annually, you can change plans. That's an open enrollment period. Used to be to the end of the year. Then they found that people didn't want to do that when they were closer to the holidays, at the end of year time. So it's been moved up for the last number of years, October 15th to December 7th. Other than that enrollment period, you can't change your plan unless you get knocked out or you move, because the plans are specific to the states. So if you live in New York and have a New York approved plan and you move to Illinois, you'd have to get a new plan. Part D. D stands for drugs. This is the prescription plan program in Medicare. So Medicare is a federal program. I have a series on that. A and B is original Medicare, doctors, hospitalization. Part C is Medicare Advantage, where you can get a private insurance company to cover the A and the B. And Part D is drugs, your prescription Medicare plan. You get a pharmacy card. Now, Part D is only provided by private insurance companies that follow federal regulations. Right? So you can't sign up at Social Security. You could go to Medicare.gov, but you can't sign up at Social Security. You need to get a private broker, and you'd have a pharmacy card. This is a voluntary program, but enrollment is highly encouraged. And enrollment is encouraged by if you fail to sign up when you can at your initial stage, you pay a 1% penalty per month until you ultimately sign up. Now, a person can apply for Medicare at the same time they can apply for A and B, Medicare A and B. That's in the 7-month window. The 3 months before you hit 65, your birthday month, and then the 3 months after you turn 65. So that 7-month window is when you can apply. And if you fail to apply and obtain Medicare at that point, your next time that you can enroll is in any open enrollment period, right? And the open enrollment period is October 15th to December 7th annually. But if you miss it and you get prescribed a very costly drug, well, you'd have to bear the brunt of that expense until you can ultimately apply for Medicare. There are 4 stages to Medicare Part D. There's the deductible stage, the initial coverage stage, the coverage gap stage, and then the catastrophic illness stage. So we start out annually at the deductible stage. So 2020, the deductible is about $400, a little bit more. You have to pay out of pocket. You pay 100% of the cost of any medication. Then the next stage is the deductible stage. So at that point, if you need to get a prescription medication, you have to pay your copay. That's the portion for the individual. And then the balance is paid by Part D. That's your prescription coverage. Now, there are tiers. You may be familiar with this with other prescription plans. Tier 1 are the generics and the lowest cost generics, your preferred generics, going all the way up to a brand name, maybe Tier 5. They are more costly medications. So Tier 1 to Tier 5 within the deductible stage. The next stage is the coverage gap. If you pay out of pocket a certain amount, Medicare tracks your spending. They track what you pay, they track what they pay. And if you hit a certain amount, which changes annually, at that point in time, the coverage stops and you have to pay the difference between your coverage gap all the way up till you hit the catastrophic illness stage. Now, why is that? Well, the government wanted, and still does, they want people to use generics. They want people to keep their costs down. So potentially, if you don't have oral, medicines for cancer, very expensive medicines, it could very well be that you never hit the gap because you pay under the amount. Then there's the catastrophic illness stage. In 2019, it was $5,100. 2020, it's going to $6,350. So once you pay out of pocket $6,350, you hit the catastrophic stage. And this is really the entire benefit of Part D. If you have kidney disease, certain cancers, if you have medicine that costs more than $700-800 a month, well, you're going to hit that catastrophic phase, and at that point, the individual person only pays 5% of their coverage, and the private insurance Part D pays the other 95%. So there are various Part D private insurance companies. Some have premiums, some don't. Some have higher copays. So you really have to compare them. You can compare them by going to Medicare.gov. You can even call 1-800-MEDICARE. If you go to Medicare.gov and you put in the specific prescriptions that you have now, you could conceivably determine which insurance company would be best for you. Medicare Part F. Medicare Part F is going the way of the dodo bird. This program is now no longer open for new enrollees. So Part F is a Medigap Medicare supplement program. It was determined during President Obama's administration that Part F would end, and so you'll alternatively hear that it's ended or it hasn't ended. So Part F, if you're an existing Part F subscriber, if you are eligible for Medicare and have Part A and B, you could enroll in Part F in 2020, 2021. So F is not going anywhere for people that are already Medicare eligible or already have Part F. But it is not open to new enrollees. So what is Medicare Part F? If you have it, or if you're 65 and over and are remain eligible to get onto this plan. As a Medigap coverage, it pays for all of your Part A and B deductibles. There's one monthly premium, and then you don't pay any copays for doctor's visits, any of your A and B items. So people on a fixed budget like Part F because they could see a doctor monthly, weekly, multiple doctors without having to pay a copay. But that's also why the program after 53 years is coming to an end, because of the skyrocketing costs of medical costs. The administration wanted people to have skin in the game, right? They want people to have to pay something to see a doctor, so that you just don't go, if you have a little sniffle, you maybe think twice about seeing a doctor. So as F falls by the wayside, the next Medigap coverage plan will be Part G. Part G is very similar to F, except that you have to pay copays, right? There's a small deductible, and then Medicare Part B copays. So very convoluted. All of the Medicares, all of the private insurance is related to healthcare, right? But I will tell you, a suggestion is to speak to an insurance representative, because there's no additional cost. An agent. Speak to an agent. There's no additional cost. If you call Mutual of Omaha and get coverage through them, or you get the coverage through an agent, the cost of the plan is no different. So please consider that. Do your price shopping. Go on Medicare.gov. You could call 1-800-MEDICARE and really take a look at the plans, so that you could determine maybe you have a deductible, but it's not too high, or you don't. You're healthy, you're well, and you don't have to worry about seeing a doctor that frequently. Part G is a plan that anyone, irrespective of health, can get. So if a person has cancer and they leave their employer, Part G has to cover you. If they have a pre-existing condition, Part G has to cover you. So I think that's it for today. If you have any questions, if you'd like to speak with me, please go to callfrankbruno.com.
Friend, father,